Morning. Call the meeting to order of the Municipal Airport Authority. Agenda items. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting for October 22nd.
Move.
Move and a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
One question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I asked a question at the last meeting regarding Commissioner Pepcorn's leaving. Did we get an answer whether he meant he was leaving as liaison to the city or he was just leaving the meeting?
I have no idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, motion will be approved as made. And next one is item 2. Approve the vouchers totaling $96,728.24. Entertain a motion on the
Motion.
vouchers.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the roll.
Lind.
Aye.
Bingham.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Aye. Number 3 is approve individual vouchers A through C. Entertain a motion on those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. And any discussion on those 3 items? Hearing none, call for roll.
Lind.
Aye.
Bingham.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 4 is to authorize attendance at the AAA&E Aviation Issues Conference. We normally do this, however, I see that it's held in Hawaii.
It's always held in Hawaii, this one.
Oh, the Issues Conference. Okay, I was thinking of the
So
regular.
as president of the Great Lakes chapter, all the chapter presidents are invited out. The AAA will cover my airfare and hotel. This is the registration.
Okay.
So,
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. You know, I've gone to some conferences in Hawaii, and it's always a kind of a stickler, but if you live in Hawaii, you say, why are we discriminated against like other states that host conferences, you know? And you go, well, because it's
I
Hawaii.
can come to Fargo.
Yeah, you come to Fargo.
In
Today.
January.
You said in
All right,
circles.
moving on. Number 5 is receive an update on the SRE building.
Well, I feel like I've been avoiding you for a while.
I believe you
Don't
have.
Stuff, but I feel like I have lots of stuff. So this is the 95% set of drawings. Again, I'm not gonna, I mean, the building's a box. It's, you know, got garage doors. It's nothing really sexy, but it certainly helps the airport. So then I'm gonna pass out some estimates for you guys.
so do you want them to review all this? Each get a copy?
Huh? Yeah.
No.
No, that's a reduced set, so you don't have to have a big one. You'll get a big one later when we get the 100.
Thank you.
So this will be the set that we'll submit to the FAA. And so we had I gave Sean the kind of the detailed parts of the estimate. So I actually hired TF Powers to do an estimate for me. So we just did a better job that way. You'll see estimates from Overmill and Nelson for mechanical and Joel Cap for the electrical. So if we want to go through it, so the new SRE building, which so it's basically going right here, and we're, you know, for the most part, taking and paving, you know, this whole section with it in the middle, and it takes a large part of that up. You'll see in the estimate what the general cost, mechanical, electrical, civil is really a big chunk, and that's all the pavement around it. And you know, as you know here, with the kind of equipment you have and the size that they are and how heavy they are, these pavement sections are you know, we do a parking lot for an office building for half that. So that's a big chunk. So that's the 5.5 million for the SRE building. That includes a generator, which we're actually taking. They have a small generator in this building that's quite old. Originally we're going to be putting the generator in the new building, but Joel figured out that it was simpler and cheaper to bore underneath there and actually put it right next to the transformer. So we didn't have to move a lot of things, and there's very little load. It's really amazing. There's, you know, really not a lot of load going on in any one of these buildings because they're so big and just, you know, they're just housing big equipment. So it isn't a very big generator. We're putting it kind of right alongside the transformer, so we cut some costs that way. So, you know, that's what we have for the I mean, really it didn't change much from any of the drawings we showed you other than how we had to build it. So there were things like we decided to do some bulk salt storage and stuff like that, and so that room has gotten a little heavier duty and more coatings to help things not, you know, like we're doing some stainless steel doors and stuff like that, so the salt doesn't erode them, so that gets kind of spendy. Just a couple of doors like that. We do a lot of work at wastewater treatment plants for some engineers, and so they're always doing those kind of things because their chemicals are so corrosive. So that's really the only big deal that happened there. We ended up gaining a little space in that room. I believe Jeff and Mean Hunt are still negotiating on where we think we are on a reimbursement perspective. We're roughly 90%, right, Jeff?
90 to 95%.
Okay.
Preliminary indication.
So that's a good thing. Then we come to the addition of the SRE building, which is basically our another service stall, and it gains us a lot of other things too. But so that is, if you look down there, the $1,172,000 is it with the alternate 4 relighting, which is $85,740. You see that under electrical alternate E2 relighting, and it also includes the re-roofing, which is alternate G2. That is $182,000. So it's yellowed partly because the re-roofing wouldn't be an eligible expense. It's kind of maintenance. We don't really know about you'll see the big number of $1 million. That's not in that price. And Jeff is working on that in terms of, do we need to do that? And Jeff, you want to address that a little bit?
On the pavement?
Yeah, on the pavement around. So the idea is to redo all this pavement here. Was that something that was in your master plan, I think?
Yeah, so back when this summer when we did the work on Dakota Drive, we actually had some quantity built into the project to address the pavement around the SRE building. Then the SRE building came up. So the logical thing to do was take that work out until we figured out exactly what the plan for the SRE building was. Ultimately, we went with this, so we still need to do something with the pavement around the existing building. The $1.7 million estimate is based on a complete reconstruction, so it's obviously high. What we're working on right now is to see, you know, are there pieces that are salvageable, and if we can just replace, you know, certain sections to bring that cost down, because in my opinion, you know, $1.7 million is obviously a substantial amount of money, and I think it can be best served for other needs at the airport. So,
Is it?
but there are still pavement issues to address out there. So
Is there spalling, or what is it?
there's just shattered panels,
Yeah.
falling. I mean, there's areas where the concrete is just disintegrating. You know, so I mean, it's not going to fall apart tomorrow, but now's the time to do something about it.
So we'll refine our drawings before we send them out.
Correct.
And again, that's the nice thing about the alternates, you'll be able to see exactly what they are. If you want to take them, the roof in the SRE building is a problem, so that would, you know, but that's really coming out of your general fund or whatever maintenance fund. So, so the addition if you did the math there, the addition is $990,480 if we do relighting and re-roofing as part of the construction. The relighting is extensive. It's the whole thing. It's not only relighting, it's improving the light. So right now the lighting in the big storage bays is just not very good. So everything will be LED, not only obviously in the relighting, but also in the brand new building. And then what I did is gave you what we typically try to do is we try to identify soft costs. So on our architectural fee, our fee for re-roofing, I'm putting a $0 amount in for hazardous material, and that's something I got to get done yet. And it's one of those things that anytime we do a remodeling or you tear into any kind of building that you're getting a permit for, you have to have somebody go through it and determine if there's any hazardous material in it, regardless of its age. I don't care if it was built last year and you're going to remodel it, you'd have to do that. Of course, this was done in '85, so we didn't do asbestos back then. I mean, there's all sorts of, it was shouldn't be anything. So I'll need to do that because we'll have to have a certification that says, yes, we've done that before we build. I did put plug some costs in because I don't believe Powers had money for appliance, so I put some appliance dollars in there because we have our new basically our new not lounge but
Staff meeting.
yeah, our new
room.
break room is in there, and they want there's a lot of guys, so they want a couple of microwaves. We'll have a dishwasher. We'll have refrigerators, stuff like that. AV equipment, I did put some dollars in there. I didn't know if they would need televisions or something like that. So that'll be something that we'll look at and probably figure out who will provide that. I usually put in building permits and plan reviews just because most people don't get what it costs to do that, I think, and so it might be even in Powers' estimate, so it might be doubled up. But I like to identify it because I don't think people sometimes realize what kind of dollars it takes to get these things approved. Construction testing is something that we do. We have the owner do it, so we'll get proposals from the 3 main testing companies around here, and then that will be part of the total project cost, and we do that. So we used to have the contractor do that, which was kind of having the fox watch the chicken coop. So now we always just have the owner do it, and then we just verify those bills, we send them, and then you guys pay them, and they come to us first, and then we just like the payment request do. And then I had a 3% contingency in there. It's reasonably simple stuff, so kind of thinking that, especially if we can, what kind of time we have for FAA, hopefully we're bidding this in January, February, which is a great time to bid something. So we're expecting, prices have been pretty decent, so.
Do you have builder's risk insurance?
Yeah, so I think you guys, we have that the builder takes it up, correct?
In the terminal expansion, we took out our own
Okay.
policy through
Okay.
Dawson.
I thought I thought it was you guys, but maybe not. So we would need builder's risk as well. It's cheaper for you to take it out. Most people, we have our owners take it out because it's just a rider on the already insurance you have. So I actually had that in there, and then I took it off because I thought we had it as a requirement for you guys. But so for instance, we don't have many, but most people we have it. It's really relatively inexpensive as a rider. I don't know if you know what builder's risk insurance is, but it's kind of an act of God. So let's say we had the steel set up and we had a really bad straight line wind or tornado or something that came through and it knocked it down. Builder's risk would kick in at that point. so it's, or we just had a claim from a roofer. We're doing a re-roofing project in Wapaton, and the roofer had all their insulation up there. They had it tied down, and they had straight line winds of 55 miles an hour, and it took it and just whipped it all over the place. So we had about a $6,600 claim on for builder's risk. So those are the kind of things that it's for. So I think that's the second time in my career we've used it. So it doesn't happen very often. Any questions?
No, I don't think anything looks out of line at all.
Mm-mm.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Number 6.
Any other questions? Anything? Okay, SRU Building roof replacement was,
Yeah, it's not eligible, so Terry's proposed a fee of 7 to cover that, and as long as we're doing the project, this is while we replace the roof on the other. So that'll be a separate line item on his invoices and the contractor to be determined invoices to just
Okay.
have that done as part of the bid process. So we have to approve the contract amendment.
So moved. Second.
motion and second. Any other comments, questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, receive update on cargo expansion ramp. Jeff, I guess that's you.
So where we are at today is we have this whole issue with glycol capture and disposal. And we sent a proposal to the wastewater treatment plant laying out kind of the preferred option to get their buy-in or official approval on it and determine a rate structure for treatment of the glycol fluid, which ultimately will go up to the sewage lagoons. We haven't heard back from them yet, but at this point in time, we're just assuming that they're okay with it because they've been engaged in the conversations throughout the whole process. So once we do that, or get approval on that, then we can finish up our design for the project, which will bid out this, in that February, March timeframe to start construction right away in the spring. So, and then ultimately, what we will need to do is have a glycol force main from the cargo site up to the lagoons. Coincidentally, Sean brought to our attention that the city of Fargo is constructing their own force main that goes between the lagoons and the wastewater treatment plant. So we're trying to figure out a way if there's a partnership capability to utilize that existing infrastructure and have it be a win-win for both sides. So, and then the one thing I will also mention on that as part of this treatment plan is we have to have a 200,000 gallon underground storage tank so we can capture large flows and then just periodically pump it up to the lagoon so it's not getting just one mass flow up there. We didn't have that as part of our original scope of work because our assumption was we could just pump it directly into the sanitary sewer structure, which the wastewater treatment plant wasn't in favor of. So we'll have to come back with an engineering amendment at some point in time and get that taken care of. So.
Is that, did you say underground?
Could be above ground. too.
Okay.
So
I was wondering why it would have to be.
it's a big tank.
Yeah.
It's 200,000 gallons. It's a big tank.
Yeah. I haven't figured out dimensionally what that is yet, but it's large. So, any questions on that?
We got the next one too.
All right.
Yeah.
So I suppose about a month or so ago, myself and some architects from Eaton Hunt in our Minneapolis office met with Sean and Darren to go over a terminal area study. And basically what it is it's a study to look at expansion of this existing terminal building because there's with all the employment growth and the increased services and everything, it's at capacity. So what the FAA requires is this study basically to, lay out the groundwork for, ultimately a design project. And what we had met about was just with Sean and Darren was discussing all the deficiencies in the existing building. So what this plan will address are things like expanding, a number of gates off to the east side of the terminal building down here. Will be the primary focus of expansion. We'll look at things as far as post-secure restaurant space to get some, revenue generations on the post-secure side. Just looking at existing mechanical and electrical systems, lighting, make sure that they're, energy efficient, up to code, bathroom space, aircraft gates, just, basically taking the opportunity to look at the building as a whole. And then another component of this plan is, and the FAA and North Dakota Aeronautics wanted to see this, was it's going to be a lot of money. It's probably $35 million. I mean, just shooting from the hip estimate for the building itself, and then another $15 million for reconstruction of the apron. So what they want to see, and we all would want to see, is a financial analysis plan. So Eaton Hunt has gotten a price from a sub-consultant to look at how the airport authority finances this thing over time, because both the terminal, apron reconstruction, and the building are ranked really low on the FAA's priority scale. So to be able to get funding for it is going to be a challenge. So it's, this plan will kind of help, lay the groundwork for doing that. The other thing about discretionary money is we still need to get clarification on this, but terminal projects, if you're a small hub airport, aren't eligible for discretionary money. And just so happens that Fargo is right at the transition being from a non-hub to a small hub. So we have to, work diligently over the next year to be able to get this project programmed to maintain the airport authority's ability to get discretionary money for it. So, and even at that, there's some gray area within the FAA if non-hub airports can get it. So.
Lots of money.
It is a lot of money, so.
Yeah.
But there's a definite need there too, so.
Well, there is.
So that's the challenge, is going through this plan is, what's needed, how do we pay for it, how do we phase it out over a number of years to be able to actually build it, so.
Okay. Any questions? Thanks for the other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have one question about the PFC. How far out are you on the PFC collections?
The current authorization will end in June of next year, but we have another PFC application that's ready to go out to the carriers for consultation and approval. So that one would extend us out, Jeff, till about 2026, 2027?
Yeah, it's 10 to 15 years, so.
Yeah.
It's
So
quite a length of time.
It'll continue, and we're generating between 1.8 and 2 million per year in PFC.
And
reimbursement.
so is that another way of saying that your projects, that your PFC funds are already committed to other projects out through 2028?
Roughly, yeah. It's basically all payback. So projects that have already been completed, buying snow removal equipment or airfield improvements, everything that we're doing is all payback for what's already been completed.
I think we're gonna have to look at borrowing and bonding and a lot of finances. It's gonna be a big project.
Yep.
Okay, number 9 is discuss proposals for depository and banking services. I know we've had 4 banks submit proposals. Any discussion amongst the board?
Well, I took a first stab at it and really looked at what we have in the accounts right now and because we'd have to set up 4 separate accounts because technically, we should have those accounts set up and the money should not be commingled with any of the City of Fargo funds, which it is. So, but I basically looked at all the 4 banks, and 2 of them rose to the top immediately just by the interest rate that we would be gaining from, and the interest money we would be gaining from 2 of the banks. And then I went through, and because they're set up differently, one is inclusive of a lot of fees, the other one is not. And so I took a stab at how many transactions, and basically there's one that rose to the top. And but they were very well done, very thorough proposals, and so that's kind of where we're at least with my perspective.
Anyone, any other discussion items on the banks? Okay,
First International here, did you want to say anything, Steve?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Just we're here to help and serve, and anything we can do to earn additional business, we really appreciate it. We've had a wonderful relationship with the airport authority for a number of years, and love to expand on it. So thank you. I think,
and I contacted Steve yesterday as I was analyzing these, and he was very responsive, and it was just like I had anticipated. I was a banker in previous life, so but I think the other thing that would be nice is for us to keep the money local. I think that's a real positive, and at least 3 of the 4 banks, for sure 2 would keep it local. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, in my discussion with the FAA, there's been some comments about how we're currently handling the money through the city, and they would like a little more delineation between their money and our money.
So when do we need to review and make a decision?
I would say if we can do it today after our discussion, we can do that. I don't know that the next item we're going to be able to do the IT today, but I believe we could do banking today if everybody is comfortable with that.
I am not ready to make a decision today. So
You're not?
Sorry, I can do it. I can be ready next time. But.
Okay. Well, the next meeting in 2 weeks, we should be able to do that then. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 10 is the IT communication proposal services. Darren, do you want to bring us up to speed on negotiating with that?
Yeah, we received 4 proposals from local companies, and they're all very similar for our needs and so on. We're kind of answering some of the security backup questions right now, clarifying that. But just so you know, we have roughly 10 to 12 PCs that are really just office, computers. Nothing that's complex. We're looking at putting a file server on airport property, and then all our files will back up to that. And then we do a cloud backup to probably one of the companies that we could do business with. And then the phone side of it, we can keep our existing phone. We can actually run our phone system off of our new file server. We only have, 8 phone lines coming to the airport that we monitor. All the other entities in the terminal building have their own phone system, so there's not any commingling of phone lines or worrying about shutting the airlines down or anything like that. So, yeah, just as it's evolving, there's more questions that are coming up, and I'm reaching out to the vendors individually to get clarifications on some things and some of the concerns that have been brought up recently about security and so on, and they're all, it's not an issue, so I just want to verify that. So. It's not a complex. I mean, they're all in the ballpark. It's going to be about $8,000 to set up a file server on the airport. And it's about 7,000 or 8,000 to get everything configured from how it is now onto our server. And, we already have a fiber line coming in, so we can utilize that existing fiber line and so on. It's just some loose ends or whatever, but it's nothing that, once we pick a vendor, that's not gonna be taken care of, so.
Okay.
Just getting statements about cybersecurity from each of the companies. And
Good.
we've got some of those, and contrary to what was implied on a local talk show, is that your tickets and social security numbers are not at risk. We have absolutely nothing to do. There's no tie to any airline computer systems or car rental systems or anything. It's Excel files, it's Word files, it's emails. It's basically what we're backing up. So, no, your tickets and social security numbers are not at risk because we have nothing to do with that system. There's no tie whatsoever. So, if you've heard that out there, you can alleviate that false accusation.
There's several misinformation items flying around.
And I was happy to kind of see that it was very cost effective. If initial monthly fees, I think it's, want to make sure that as a business, we need to make sure that we, cross the T's, dot the I's, but also keep it cost effective.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
All of these are local vendors, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
And some do business all over the country, so like Corporate Technologies or Consolidate. So they're well-known, well-respected companies that businesses across the country and especially locally rely on and do well.
Darren, who are the four that you've been doing?
Corporate Technologies, SNL Computer, Network Center, and
Consolidated.
Consolidated? No, High Point.
High Point.
High Point. Consolidated is on the fiber side, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you think we'll be ready for the next meeting to
Yeah, I
select
mean,
that?
I got most of the answers now, I just didn't get them all, so.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
receive-
with,
Yeah.
if I may add, I would be hesitant to enter into another contract with any outside services until our mediation session is complete with the city. So I just don't want to enter into contracts that we might have to.
Right, well, we don't need to necessarily enter into the contract without advising them that they are going to probably not be able to start till January 1st, but we could select without signing it.
Sure.
Contract. Yeah.
I was just wondering too about, really, we would got January 1 deadline, but with this, it's probably just whatever the transition takes. So there's not I think a hard deadline on when it happens.
Okay.
Right, this is,
Once all the dust is settled, we can say, okay, we want it done by this date.
both banking and IT do not have a deadline or a long lead time the way the pro resources and our finance thing due to licensing and year-end stuff. So it's it'll be much easier to jump into those.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the number 11 is to receive an update on pro resource transition. I know you had a meeting with them.
Yeah, we've had a couple of different meetings to go through some of the basics of pro resources, sign up. Of course, the chair did sign the contract shortly after our last board meeting. And last week we had a day where the office staff and some of our supervisors went in and did the onboarding. So I actually went on and it took maybe 10 minutes, less than 15 minutes for each person to onboard all of their information as if now you're set up in their payroll system. There's more work that they need to do with each employee. So this week they will come out and spend a day at the fire department or here in this room to onboard the rest of the employees. I think there's one exception, one employee's gone this week for vacation, but they'll have everyone enrolled by December 1st as if they're ready to take over on the 1st. There are some things that they need, and Stacy's been working on the federal tax ID number, a DUNS number. We'll look at getting our own North Dakota tax exempt number, and so forth. They need those things in order to set up workforce safety, work comp, and so forth. As far as North Dakota PERS, I've been back and forth with Mary Jo Anderson from North Dakota PERS to onboard employees that choose to go on to the PERS pension program if something does change there. But for all of the current employees that we have, it's just simply moving them from one account into a new account. We do have an account set up with North Dakota PERS. That was done in a matter of a few hours to get the account set up. One of the items that we did approve for employees to consider was group life insurance. But then after reading more about that, it's something that would cost us money. Right now, the life insurance is all borne by the employee. So that's not something that we would provide. So we told PERS that we would just suspend that opportunity at this time. So any life insurance that any employees want is at their option, whatever companies are provided, and at their expense with that. So outside of that, I don't know if you have any other questions. Pro Resource has been great to work with so far, and I think the transition will be very seamless if that's the way that we move on or before January 1st.
Yeah, and looking at their materials too, it seems as though there's a great deal more things that we're gonna get from them than we have currently.
Yeah, the health savings account is one that they're ready to come out and educate on. That'll be done probably in conjunction with Dave Middow and Associates. So when you have a dual option plan that's there. So we'll be kicking off some type of an educational campaign for employees to consider the health savings account, which currently isn't available. They've already stated that their dental and vision insurance will be less than what we're currently having access to. So there'll be a lot of positives, I think, coming forward, and we'll keep marching down the road with that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, airport construction security update. Calling Jeff again. Anything?
South GA lighting is about the only update, if you want. If you've driven up to the airport like I did earlier last week, Sun Electric started the relighting of the South GA, and I thought, like NDSU had practice early in the morning or something, it was really light. All the LEDs were tilted up. They got those tilted down into the proper illumination area on the South GA, and it's made a big difference. I think there's a few things that they have left yet. This week I saw there was some other building lights and so forth that might still need to be done. But it's made a huge difference down there in terms of the lighting of the South GA rooms. So, it looks like it's going to work well. Security-wise, we're still on track to have some machines changed out next year at the checkpoint. I don't know that Bismarck provided us any firm dates yet, but they do expect us to have some technology changes at the checkpoint sometime next summer. So we'll keep you eyes on that. I think that's all that we have.
Okay,
for that.
and no one from TSA here, so we're okay. December meeting dates. We have
The chair and I will be at the Air Show convention for the first regular meeting
right.
date.
That's Tuesday the 10th, so that's the regular meeting. But we're two of us are gone for that.
So we could look at December 17th, and then depending upon the outcome of mediation, we're scheduled to meet on Christmas Eve day, which isn't a problem unless you're out of town. But so it's possible we could have a meeting the 17th and the 24th, depending on what happens with mediation dates and so forth, if that actually does happen. Is that right?
I already know I'll be gone the 24th.
Okay.
17th.
as well.
17th is
Yeah.
all right for everybody. This when were we looking at holding that meeting with
The tentative hold date is December 16.
16?
Yeah, we could meet any time the week of the 16th. I mean, if there's a better day than the 17th, that's fine.
Do you think we'll have enough agenda items for the 3rd? December 3rd?
We don't meet on the 3rd.
I know, but I'm
But
saying
you
if
guys-
we
you're
aren't
thinking-
gonna meet the 10th, and we do the 17th and skip the 24th on Christmas Eve, that,
So we do meet November 26th. That's our next regular
Yeah.
scheduled meeting, the 26th. So
why don't we just hold one meeting and make it the 17th? We do that?
Or else we
Is
could
that
have
gonna
the
be-
3rd and not do the 26th. Do it kind of in between, but then we'll probably, we might have to meet.
with the holidays, if we want to choose banking and IT, that's really cutting it close to,
Okay, yeah.
to get something done there.
Okay. So November 26th and December 17th.
If that works.
Okay, 17th? for sure.
From my perspective, I would appreciate a meeting prior to any mediation with the city.
Okay.
In the event we need to go into executive session.
Agreed.
Mhm.
About the third.
But we
then?
can't do the 10th. Are you guys gone
We're-
that whole week?
Well,
We'll be back on the
Sunday,
12th.
come back on the, be available on the 12th.
Okay.
Uh,
So
But we don't know the day of the mediation.
it's tentatively booked for December 16th.
It is, okay.
So let's,
And
let's do the 3rd and the 17th. Does that
Okay.
work?
Yep.
Yep. November 26th too?
What do you think, Stacy, for items? Probably don't.
I just would like the opportunity to have a meeting before mediation,
Right,
so I'm good with either date.
yeah. No, so let's do the 3rd and 26th. If it's a short meeting, it's a short meeting.
So, and the 17th.
17th, correct.
December.
So, all three.
26th,
Yeah.
3,
26, 3, 17.
26th of November.
Right.
26th,
The
3rd,
third,
December,
17th.
December 17th.
So we will meet on the 26th?
Yes,
Don't you think that's kind of an
let's do
either
that.
or? 26th or the 3rd?
I was thinking so, 26th or the 3rd, I don't know.
Uh,
I think we have a lot to talk about before we do the
We've
mediation.
got,
so-
well.
Oh, yeah.
We can always cancel it if we
You're
need
right.
to.
The banking,
If
the
they're-
two proposals.
Oh,
So
yeah.
November 26th, December 3rd, December 17th.
Correct.
Okay. And we can, like I say, you can cancel if we need to. All right.
Okay, and
Okay.
one other thing, I know that when the city commission had their meeting, we had several tenants address the meeting. I was gone, but I heard about it, and I want to thank all of those who attended and spoke up in favor of the airport authorities. I just want to thank everybody for that. Okay, before we go into recess, I'll read why we're going to do that. The Municipal Airport Authority of the City of Fargo will meet in executive session following the regular meeting of the authority. The executive session, the authority will review a motion made by the last meeting of the City Commission of Fargo regarding a proposed mediation between the airport authority and the city as it relates to current vendor agreement between the airport authority and the city of Fargo for certain services provided by the city to the airport for which the airport pays the city. This session will provide negotiating instruction in preparation for possible mediation with the city. With respect to said negotiations, these have financial implications and an open meeting discussion of negotiation, strategy, and direction to the authority members is designated to attend a proposed mediation would create an adverse fiscal effect on bargaining position of the MAA. So this executive session has been authorized pursuant to the North Dakota Century Code 440419.19. So at this time, we will stand in recess and reconvene after the executive session.